So let's talk about, especially this time of year, Black Friday just happened. Today is Cyber Monday, right? So all kinds of shopping. So let's talk about discount. Discount is good because you actually save money, right? Okay? And sales tax, I'm not going to say bad, but it's necessary, okay? That's where you have to pay money, right? So a discount you save, sales tax you pay. So if you are being asked to, if you ask and save money, that means that whatever you find the discount, will you add it to your total or will you subtract it? Yes, you will subtract from your total bill that you owe. So if it was 100 and you're saving 10, now you only pay 90, right? You subtract it. Okay? So keep that in mind that you subtract your discount. Paying means you add it to your total. Okay? So I want you to keep those two connections in mind. And I want to talk about sales tax first. Sales tax is not an option. Everybody has to pay it. Every state, there's federal sales tax or sales tax. There's state sales tax. Does anybody know Michigan sales tax rate? 6%. Okay, so let's talk about what this means actually once and for all. I know you know it, but let's talk about exactly how you get it. You get to it. So like when you go to the store and you're at the mall and you buy a shirt for yourself and the price tag says $19.99, okay, you can't just hand them a $20 bill and think that you're going to get your shirt, right? Okay? Because when you walk up to the register, they say your bill is $21.52. But you're like, but it says $19.99 on the front, so you have to factor in some sales tax, right? So let's talk a little bit about how you arrive at sales tax. So make 3 columns on your paper for me. Okay? So we're going to say this is the cost, or the cost of the item that you're buying. This is the amount of tax that you would owe. We're going to say Michigan is 6%. There's other states that are other percents. So we're not always going to use 6%. So you need to understand that. And this will be your total amount that is due after you add the tax in. So let's kind of set this up here. So sometimes kids will say, if I say how much is sales tax, some kids will say 6 cents on the dollar. And that's exactly right. And what that means is for every dollar you pay that the item is cost you, you owe them 6 cents, right? So if it's between a 0 and a dollar, or 1 cent and a dollar, you owe them 6 cents in tax, which means your final cost is going to be what? $1.06, right? Does that make sense? Get it? Sense? So if you're into the second set of, instead of between 0 and 1, but you're between $1 and $2, then you have 2 times that 6 cents, which is 12 cents, and your total would be? Yes, you got it. Okay, we'll do this one more time just so you kind of get the hang of it. So if your item is $3, you would owe them that 6 cents 3 times, and your total would be $3.18. Get it? So we're talking like 12 cents, 18 cents. Not a huge deal at all. Let's start to talk about what happens, though, when you get into some bigger, more expensive items. Let's say you want to buy an iPad mini, okay, or a new iPod Touch, or a DS, whatever. So you need to figure out, you need to pay 6 cents 300 times. So do you remember when we did our percentage units? Don't I need to figure out what 6% of 300 is? 6% of 300. Do you remember that means multiply? So how much is that worth of tax? So you may pick up your calculators because I want you to get in the habit of being able to do this. It would be $18 Just in tax? Yeah. So you could buy like a shirt with the amount of tax that you would owe on that iPad. So what would your total that you owe Best Buy be? $318, right? Okay. Let's say you want to buy a MacBook Air and it's $1,200 for a new game system. I don't know. That's more expensive. I'm going to owe them 6 cents 1,200 times? Yes. So what problem would I punch in my calculator? And I need you to write this. 6% of 1,200. Remember when we did that equation purposely? 6% of 1,200. So use your calculator, please. Raise your hand when you think you know how much tax you would owe, Kaylee. $72. Whoa. Just on the tax. Like, think of all that you could buy with that, okay? So what's your total that you would owe Best Buy now? $272, yes. Okay? So to kind of get you to understand how this works then, let's say you're going to buy a car. $15,000. Gas. Now stop. Don't push anything in the calculator right now. Put your hands on your head. Hands up. Estimate the tax. How much do you think you would owe? And then walk me through your estimation. Alyssa. Oh. Estimate, walk me through it. Jana.
Well, I estimated, I was thinking 6 is 15.
Okay.
And so that's,
Good. And then good. That's very good. So she said, I know I'm going to do 6 times 15, except I'm going to do 6 cents times 15,000. So she knows it has something to do with 90, right? Did anybody find, you can put your hands down now. Did anybody find 10%? Guess what I did? I said, well, 10% is $1,500, right? But I don't want 10%. Let's cut that 10 in half and find 5%. What's half of 1,500? $750. And then it's going to be more than that, right? Because that's 5, I need 6. So, anybody know exactly how much 6% of $15,000 is? Naya? The total of what this is here? Is it 90?
Yeah.
900. It's 900. Guess what? Did you not put the decimal in? So now how much would you owe? You wouldn't owe 16,000 because that would get you to the next 1,000, right? Okay, Avery. Yeah, I know. You're
90 because
yes, this was exactly. Yep. All right, so let's say you want to buy a cottage up north. It's not as expensive as a house, but it's still, let's say, $60,000. Estimate before you find it. Anybody have a good estimate? How much would you owe just in taxes?
I say 3,600.
3,000, okay.
Because, 6 times 6.
Yes. Okay, good. So 6% of 60,000 is exactly what Avery said. So what would I owe total? 63,600. So the amount that you would owe in tax, you could buy like a couple computers with. All right, let's wrap this up with a house. Say you got a nice big house somewhere in the forest, $250,000. You could buy a car probably with the amount that you would owe just in taxes. So 6% in Michigan at least of $250 is how much? So I want everybody getting practice punching this in on your calculator. Make sure you do not leave off that. Yeah. You could buy a car with that. So it's $15,000. My question to you now is how much would my mortgage total be? If the house was $250,000, I really have to make sure I have enough money for what? $265,000. Got it? Okay. Yes. Okay. So the purpose of this was to kind of get you to understand that 6% could be as little as 6 pennies or as high as $15,000 because 6%, it depends on your total amount, right? That's what percent means, okay? Every item in the world is not $100. When it's $100, it would be easy to figure everything out, but it's not. So, I wanted you to kind of keep that in mind. Now, let's move over and do something similar with discount, okay? So, I want you to make 3 columns. And we're going to call this the original price. We're going to say that this column is going to be the percent that the discount is that we're getting. And we're going to call this last column our new price. Original and new, something happens in between there, right? So let's just say that I have an item for $42. Bless you. It's a pair of headphones, and they're on sale for 20% off. You don't need your calculator for this. Use your head for a minute. What's 10% of 42? $4.20. So what would 2 of those be? $8.40. Now stop for a minute. I'm saving this much money. It used to be 42, but I don't have to pay that much of it. What would I do to get my new price, guys? Subtract it. I add in the tax, but I subtract the discount. So 42 minus 840 is what?
33.6.
Got it? Do you see how I got my new price? I first found the discount, then I subtracted it. Understand? Let's say I have an item that is $1,036. Yes.
So you would just take the original price from the discount
And subtract. Absolutely. Yep. Every time. Okay?
So there be any point that you had to
Add in tax. If it's tax, we're gonna do one where it's all together. So this thing is almost half off. So first, what would I punch in my calculator? I want to know. Does this sound familiar? What is 45% of 1,036? Does that sound familiar? Yeah. What number is 45% of 1,036? That's what I taught that to you, right? So then you use your calculator. I want everybody to do this. You're typing in 0.45. What's that amount equal? 466.2. What does that amount represent? That I am what? Is that I'm saving. That is the amount of the discount. I'm saving that much. Well, if it used to be this, and I'm saving this much to get my new price, what would I do? And you don't, I'm just setting it up like that. You don't need to do it. You can use your calculator. And 80 cents. Yep. Is your float set correctly? And $80. That's considered your new price. Got it? Okay. So now what I want you to do is we are going to do both of these in the same problem. Meaning, I'm going to give you a paper, and I'm going to say, okay, for item number 1, it was $500. I'm saving 30%, and the sales tax is $6. Or I'm not $6. Well, how many dollars does it work out to be if it's 6%? So you gotta do both. So you know what? I figured that's kind of a lot of work to show. I'm gonna give it to you on a really easy way to keep track of it. So I'm going to give this sheet to you, and I want you to take a look at how you would go about trying to find those new prices. Yeah. That's a great question. The question is, what would we do first? Well, I will tell you this. The stores can only charge you tax on how much you're paying for the item. Does everybody hear that? So, if it was $500, but it only turns out to be $350, they can't charge me tax on $500. Right? So, to answer Shauna's question, what do you have to do first? The discount or the tax? Very good question. Just leave it. So, go with me on this one. You ready? Shh. So the first thing I want you to do, and you're not going to like it, but I don't care. You have to do it. You have to type in, write in what you are about to type in. So, follow me for a second. Do not touch your calculators until I say so. To find the discount on a $500 item, and it's 30%, what buttons am I punching in my calculator to find that discount? I want to know what 30% of 500 is, right? We'll do these together, and then you guys, I guarantee you'll be on your own. You'll be flying through it. Okay, guys, so don't use your calculator. What is 10% of 500? So what's 3 of those? 100. Yes. So 150 answers the question, how much are you saving? What is the discount? That's what 150 answers, right? Okay, before you punch it in your calculator, tell me what you're going to do to get your new price. Subtract what from what? You're subtracting 150 from 500. Don't use your calculator for that either. That's 350. Okay? So now, this is where Jana's question comes in. I have to pay 6% sales tax, but do I pay it on the new price or the original? The new. The original is no longer. $500 means nothing anymore in this problem, does it? I only needed it to figure out what the new price was. So I now owe 6% of 350. Good. So figure out on your calculators right now, what is 6% of 350? Okay? And what does that amount represent? What question does 21 answer? Alyssa. $21 is what? What does 21? That's how much tax you owe. I am almost home free. I'm going to arrive at my total amount as long as I do what? This last step right. And this is where a couple people kind of, yes, I owe them. But what am I adding 21 to? 350. Good, guys. 350 plus 21. My final price is $371. Now, would you believe if I told you that people had answers that were greater than 500 on their line? Yeah. I wouldn't want to believe it, but there was some miscalculation, whatever, they forgot a zero or a decimal, and they had $580. And my question to them was, if it only costs $500 to begin with and you're saving money, how can your answer be more? Okay, because here's what's going to happen if that's you. If you really owe them $371 and the person behind the register goes, oh, oops, I forgot to put 0.06. You owe me $580 instead of $300. Like, you need to catch that when you're a grown up. And if you're not thinking reasonably now, are you going to catch that cashier's mistake? No. Like, when you get money back, when you pay for something, do you realize that they could just like short you $10 and you don't know it? Yeah. Like, you have to really always be on your toes about those things. And think about that, okay? Yes?
That happened to my mom one time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were counting it out when I got into the car. She made me count it out because she was driving.
Yeah.
And we had to go back.
Yes.
And they gave us like a better discount because of it.
Right, exactly. So you always got to be aware of that. And that's what I told you. This is real world. You'll need to know these things. Avery.
Every single place I go that I use my money, I always count on.
Mm-hmm.
They could always
They always, yeah.
steal your money.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. It could be an accident or on purpose. So, okay, let's look at number 2. So, did you see the process that we went through for this?
Yeah.
So, let's do number 2 together. It was $385. The discount is only $15, and guess what? Sales tax is 7, not 6. So, what is my first calculation that I'm going to do? I need to figure out how much I'm saving. So, what should I do first, Jana? Yes. 15% of 385. Yep, I know. That's easy to get those columns confused. So use your calculator right now. So Brooke, kind of watch how we walked through this process here. So 15% of 385. What does that amount represent? Which is what you are saving. It's your discount. Okay? Once I know my discount, what do I do with it? Subtract it from what? My original price, right? So 385 minus 57.75. What does that represent? My new price, right? Is it my final total that I owe them? No, because everybody has to pay taxes. Okay? So to find my taxes, I do what with that new price? 7% of your new price, right? So is that 7%? Don't forget that 0, otherwise you'd be way overcharging. Of my new price. Nope, because for number 2, the tax is I'm in a different state. You got to really be careful. 7% of 327.25. And my float is not set, but it should be 22.91. Now be careful. That's how much tax I owe. What do I do with that amount? Add it to what? The new price, right? Because 385 is done. I take what my new price is and I add my sales tax to it to get a final price of $350. No estimating here. I want you, if your float is set to 2, your answer will match my answer to the penny. If you're using your phone calculator because you can't depart with it for 2 minutes, then you're going to have to know how to round perfectly. Okay? So next, what I would like you to try to do, let's just take a look real quickly down here. What are you going to do when you get to number 6? Do you realize that we said all you do is you move the decimal over 2? Because you're kind of just dividing by that 100 there. So what are you going to write? How are you going to write that as a percent? Or as a decimal? That's all. Just, just move it over. Okay, so I want you to try number 3. When you have an answer, raise your hand, and I'll come over and check it.